live from Detroit, Michigan, USA, in my house, hosted by T. Carlita, where the true stories are told and great music is played. Welcome to another episode of the In My House Techno Music Show. I'm your host, T. Carlita. And on this episode, we're going to reach into the archives once again and go back a little bit when we first started the first year and pull out Larry the Vibemaker Miller. Plus, on this show, I will dig into the Royal Mail collection and share some music with you from that. And also, at this year's Hump the Grinders Hair Wars Exotic Hair Show, the In My House Techno Music Show was honored with the Musical Beats Award. We're going to show you that clip from courtesy of Hair Wars. I've been working with Hair Wars for 11 years now, and as the show coordinator and you know, helping out as much as I can, and it is really nice to be honored. So you'll get a chance to see T. Carlita on the Hair Wars stage accepting and receiving an award that was presented at this year's Hair Wars show. So we'll get into that. Plus, we want to thank our show supporters, Wayne County Treasurer's Office, for always finding ways to make sure that people aren't foreclosing on their homes. And also, we have some new music from BXT from Detroit and Paul Nazca from France. And also on this show, you'll see my granddaughter, Kaylee. We're hanging out in the studio playing some music, and she's going to introduce a little segment for you all as well. So sit back, relax. For now, here's a little bit of music from the Royal Mail collection, and I wonder if you all know what these songs are when you hear them. If you do, send me a message. It'd be nice to know who's really listening and if you really know your music. So here we go, starting off with a few records from the Royal Mail collection from T. Carlita's house. You are in the Royal Mail mix by T. Carlita. great music is played. You are In My House, hosted by T. Carlita, where the true stories are told and great music is played.
And tonight, our first award recipient is the banner right here, In My House. You know what In My House is? It's a techno music show that comes on every week online, and she's going through her third year of promoting the techno DJs and producers around Detroit, and it goes all over the world. 72 countries watch her show, and it comes right here from Detroit, all over the world. Let's bring out Tina Nelson, also known as T. Carlita. Hold on now, this is our presenter. You remember this lady a little earlier in the show? She had the lupus, the big hairdo. She changed. She has a new look. This is Sarah Winograki, and the award goes out to Tina Nelson. Walk down the runway and show off the reward. She's our backstage manager, everybody. That's why she's got the headphones on. She runs the show. Yes, and she can dance too. She likes techno music. You can't stop her. You can't stop her. She goes and goes and goes. She can't stop her. She just turned 50 last year. You can't stop her. Yes, she can go. Oh, 52 this year. Damn, girl. Her last name is Nelson, as in Prince Nelson. She's born on the same day as Prince, June 7th. This is the Prince tattoo with us. Okay, Tina. Okay, Tina. Get back to work, Tina. Thank you. Let's get up once again, Tina Nelson.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri, and we offer taxpayers a new, free, and convenient way to make delinquent tax payments. We have taken action by joining a kiosk network located in Rite Aid pharmacies and many other locations throughout Metro Detroit. There are more than 25 locations where payments can be made at kiosks, and more locations are coming soon. We have several kiosks located in our offices to make your payments easier. It is very important for people to stay current on their payment plans. The kiosks accept credit cards, checks, or cash, and payments take just a few minutes with a simple touchscreen instruction. More than 5,000 people have used the kiosk to make payments without having to travel downtown. My office is pleased to have brought this safe, convenient, and free option to you to make staying current on your payment plans easier. Please visit wctkiosk.com for a list of locations. You can also pay delinquent taxes online at treasurer.waynecounty.com or by calling 313-224-5990.
To my toenails, you got me, feeling like the breeze, easy and free and lovely, and you oh, when you touch me, I just can't control it. When you touch me, I just can't control it. The emotion inside of me, I can feel it.
So now we know why he is called the Vibemaker, because I was vibing. You know, that's like one of my favorite songs right there. Jill Scott, I never heard it that way. So what's up, Mr. Do we call you Larry the Vibemaker?
Just Larry is good, Vibemaker. I answer to both. So yeah.
So what's happening, man? First of all, thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you having me. I do. I appreciate.
I really do look forward to you being here. Totally. So let's wrap a little bit. So who is the Vibemaker?
Wow. It's just me, Larry Miller. The Vibemaker. That name came about because the vibe, you know, I kind of like try to make a groove and a vibe when I DJ, but I didn't really want to call myself a DJ because growing up, I heard some real DJs like, you know, Frankie Knuckles and Ron Hardy and just, you know, people around me growing up. I heard a lot of DJs, and to be called a DJ, then you really have to be a DJ. And I was basically a house music dancer.
Okay.
And I got hip to house music while I was in Chicago. And fell in love with it. But when I left Chicago, I didn't hear it as much back in Ohio, 'cause that's where I'm originally from.
Okay.
From Dayton, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
And the house scene in Dayton, Ohio was me, basically.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I was one of those cats. I went to Central State University, which is a historically black college. So there was cats from Chicago, Detroit, D.C., and I was sucking up all their music. And I got a hold of house, techno, and progressive music from Detroit.
Right.
So I was one of those cats driving up to Detroit on the weekends to hear Jeff Mills, Wizard, do his mix on Friday, listening to the Mojo. But then at the time I was in the military, so got shipped off. No more music, no more, So if I wanted to hear house music, I pretty much had to play it myself.
Play it yourself.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about house music and the scene of house music, okay? Now, you not being from Detroit, not being from Chicago, but being from Ohio, you had to go to get to it.
Right.
So why do you think why was that necessary for you to go to it? What was it about it?
Well, with me,
yes.
I just fell in love. Period. House music was my music, and Chicago, Detroit, the only place that really played it, I could hear it, and there were other people besides me that listened to it, whole communities, especially in Chicago.
Right.
So, I had to go where the house was.
Now let's talk about back then and now. Now you DJ, you vibe make. You vibe
DJ
make.
is fine.
You vibe make. You vibe. Let's get it right. You vibe make. Now, so what would you say the idea of house and dance and the scene of dance and house fare differently, similar, same, transition? What's your spin on that? Because I asked this question to a few people. So what's your spin on that?
I
Your
see
thoughts?
it was a huge transition. In the beginning, it was, kind of communal, and it was your dude, it was your boy down the street that was making house, and you was like, he's doing it, I can do that.
Right.
And so it was a little competitiveness, and there was a little one-upmanship about it, and it was kind of easy.
Okay.
So if you hear some of those early house tracks, today they don't hold up. There's some good cuts and there's a lot of bad ones that production-wise you're like, oh man,
You could tell they was playing it from the kitchen sink.
But it was from the heart.
Right.
It was a bunch of young cats in their teens and 20s doing stuff that no one had really heard before, their own style, so it was new for everybody.
Okay. Now how would you driving to these different places to party? What was it about? Why did you just feel like I had to go to Detroit? I want to go to Chicago. You could have just stayed at home.
I did. But house is not to be listened to by yourself. I could play house and listen to it in my basement and even DJ it and party by myself, but that's not the purpose. To me, it was more communal, more church-like. There's a lot of gospel aspects in house, and it had to be a crowd.
Right.
It had to be a people.
And that's something I was in a conversation with. There's a person over in London, and we were talking about how house, there is a song. It's a spiritual thing. It's a soul thing, right? So what do you think, is the spirit still being produced in house tracks now versus what it back then? Because back then you knew bam, bam, bam.
Oh yeah, I think so. But now it's so fractured. There's so many aspects, so many styles. Back then it was house music. It might have been acid house, but it wasn't as fractured as it is, and it all still had that same vibe, that same nature to it. Now there's so many names to different types of house that sometimes it's not house. You know, everything that 4x4, that, you know, 4 on the floor beat or whatever is not necessarily house music.
Right.
And I think we've gotten a lot of stuff lumped up together under the house label, under that umbrella, that probably really shouldn't be there.
Yeah, that's true too. So tell me about the clubs that you frequent when you came. What was the difference between this one you went to? Okay, we'll leave Music Institute for last.
Okay.
But through your travels, like when you first came to Detroit, your first time coming to Detroit, what were some of the clubs that you went to, and what was it like when you got here?
I want to say the first club I came to was the Institute in Detroit.
Oh, okay.
But before that, in Chicago, I was going to first club when I went to go hear Ron Hardy, and that was at the Music Box.
Okay.
And then 2 weeks later, I went to go hear Frankie Knuckles at the Power Plant.
Okay.
And so I was hit with like the two best, the two hardest right out the gate.
Right.
And so I was kind of messed up from there on out. But the common denominator then was that the best house was always in the gay clubs.
Okay.
And I'm not gay, but I wasn't homophobic.
Right.
So I had no problems with going up in the club for the music and partying with everybody that was in there, because it wasn't just all guys. There was a lot of women, a lot of people
Everybody.
who loved the house then were in the club. And the club just happened to be a gay club, and the DJs
Right.
were as well.
Right. So did you get a chance? I don't know. Did you ever make it up here to go to Heavens and when Ken Collier
no.
was? Okay.
And actually, I moved to Detroit a few years ago.
Okay.
So I had never heard Ken Collier in person.
Right.
But I saw how he must have been, at that time, kind of like a Frankie Knuckles figure for Chicago, because everybody that I've ever spoken to, DJs and even people who listen to dance music, talked about Ken Collier. So I could see he had a huge shadow over the city.
So when you decided that, like, what made you decide that you wanted to DJ? How'd you get started doing DJing yourself?
It was just out of necessity, because I loved house music and I wanted to hear it. Because I was really, like I said, I was just a dancer.
Okay.
I was that little dude with the whistle and the baby powder in the club, you know, just acting a fool.
You said baby
But then
powder.
when I left, you know, I heard a record and I couldn't hear it. No one would play it, especially in the DJs in Ohio or parts of Virginia where I was stationed at in the Navy. So I ended up buying a record, playing on my record. Then I was like, no, this song would sound good with this song.
Okay.
So then I had to buy another turntable, and slowly but surely I was just DJing for myself, and I got kind of good, and I knew the music that I wanted to hear, the songs. I wasn't necessarily a deaf DJ in the vein of a lot of people today, like a Louis Vega or even the ones I heard back then. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't want to put the DJ name on myself, because I've heard a lot of DJs who were like super technical, smooth. You couldn't tell one song from another.
Right.
Me, because I was a dancer, I just wanted to hurry up and get to the other song.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? We got this out the system. Let's go to it. And so it wasn't always the tightest mix, but it was the livest part.
You knew what to play.
I knew, yeah.
Because
Pretty
you
much.
used to be out there on the dance floor.
Exactly.
That helps. That does help.
It helps, but it's also, and especially in a city like Detroit, where people take DJing very serious.
Yeah.
I don't mean very serious. So, and a lot of times you'll find yourself playing to a party full of DJs.
Oh, yeah, true.
That's probably one of the worst things ever. A lot of DJs don't dance. They don't like to dance. Super bad critics. I've been to parties where everybody's favorite DJ. I can name somebody.
True.
Louis Vega.
Okay.
Killing it like he does. Killing it. And someone will be like, oh, he shouldn't have played that. He should have did this and this and this. And that's just, I found out the nature of what a lot of DJs do. And so it's just, you know.
So what are you doing now? Where can we see you mix?
I'm I started this T-shirt line. So
Yeah.
a friend of mine, Gabriel, told me, Larry, once you start doing this T-shirt, don't do it because the music is going to fall behind. Because he did the same thing. He was doing a lot of music. Then he had a T-shirt line that really kind of blew up, and it took a lot of his focus away. I do most of my mixing now. I do a lot online, a lot of mixes. A lot of music that I do play, I kind of tweak it myself. Not necessarily a remix, but like a re-edit sometimes. So when the times I do get to play, it's, you know, something that I did on a song that sometimes it's very noticeable, sometimes it's not. Mm-hmm. But it's, you know, something that I still like to do.
So tell me about the T-shirt line.
Wow. A few years ago, I was working with Cornelius Harris and Mike Banks over at Alter Ego Management, and I helped them develop a couple of T-shirts that they had made with Syntex, the graffiti artist. And so I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. That was fun. I wonder if I could do one myself. And so I came up with this Detroit Techno Elements design.
Yes. Yeah.
And started with UR, of course. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, UR. And then I just blossomed it out with a bunch of Detroit techno elements as far as music, songs, clubs, radio stations. And I got a few of them printed up, and they sold out. I was like, wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So then I tightened it up a little bit, sold some more, made some more, and it just...
Wow. Is that a
blossomed.
shirt, one of your shirts there?
Yeah, this is one of the shirts from Detroit Makes, which is the company overall.
Okay.
And I've branched out from techno, and I'm doing a lot of other music-based, Detroit-based T-shirts.
Okay. So how can you have a website? How can people
DetroitMakes.com. You go there and you can see the whole line that I have out now, and there's probably a couple sneak previews of what we're working on.
That sounds good. Now let's talk about the clubs. Let's talk a little bit about the club spots today. Like, what are some of your favorite places to go to now? I know you had the Music Institute and all those places back in the day, but where is house its best in your eyes? Like, where do you just have to be at if you go?
Because now there is no dedicated house music clubs per se that plays kind of house that I would call house. Places like the TV bar, they always have a big house night or some big house acts there. Mix downtown, they do a lot of house. They have certain nights, but also have some house acts. The Grasshopper in Ferndale, they do all levels of house, all kinds of house. So that's also a good place. So there's still some places you can get your house on.
So how do, like the clubs? The reason why I'm doing this is because you're a dancer, I'm a dancer, but we both have an appreciation for music from the dance floor.
Right.
Now you from the DJ side, Mike from the show side. But I don't know. How do you feel that? What is it going to take to get things back, or should it go? We gotta have a good middle ground here, because we were this way and now we're all the way over here.
We have to get some more young people interested in house.
Yeah.
We have to accept the roots of house, which is really, a lot of disco culture, a lot of gay culture that a lot of straight people just don't want to be a part of or around sometimes unless they're know somebody or something like that.
Right.
That's part of the culture that we have to embrace.
Right.
And face the facts that, 40 and 50 and 60-year-old people can't necessarily party 4 or 5 times a week.
True.
And I know my son, who's 27, don't necessarily want to be up in the club listening to house with his dad.
This is true.
So we also have to know, when to hold them, know when to fold them.
Yep. That's so true. Well, Mr. Larry Vibemaker, I'm happy that you're here. I'm glad you shared your story. And then we're going to... Dissident Melodies presents their last Thursday of the month, April 27th, at the Whiskey Parlor, Spring Chicks Part 2, featuring Super Dre. of Super Dre Music LLC and Dos Lopez, tapdetroit.com. Whiskey Parlor is located in the heart of downtown Detroit, 608 Woodward Avenue, right above the Grand Trunk Pub. It's right downtown. You can't miss it. Right next to Campus Martius. It's free all night. Happy hour is from 8, starting at 8. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Art by Al Dupree. Video by Larson Dawes. And yours truly, T. Carlita, is your host for the evening. So come on down Thursday, April 27th, starting at 8. We go till 2. Great food, great music. Come on and enjoy spring with the Spring Chicks. Thursday, April the 27th, Whiskey Parlor, right above Grand Trunk Pub. See you there. New music in my house. In My House, hosted by T. Carlita, where the true stories are told and great music is played.
Living in the future with no fears. The future is
are In My House, hosted by T. Carlita, where the true stories are told and great music is played. Mark your calendar. The In My House Techno Music Show presents the second annual 2 turntables and a mixer, an exclusive 5-hour live stream broadcast featuring some of the hottest techno and house DJs from Detroit and around the globe. 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it will stream on our YouTube, on the In My House YouTube channel. So you'll see a link right here on our website that'll take you there, and also you'll see a link on our Facebook page, and there'll be more announcements and more information about this event. But mark your calendar, save the date. It's going to be Friday, May 26th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. 5-hour live broadcast. DJs coming in from across the country and right here in Detroit. Going to give you some hardcore techno, some get down house. So you don't want to miss that. Save the date as well. This is the second annual 2 turntables and a mixer presented by In My House Techno Music Show, our annual live stream show. So put that on your calendar as well. And now a message from my granddaughter, Kaylee Jamerson. She has something to say. Check your mic. Check your mic. Mic check. Mic check.
My check.
Check.
My check.
Mic check.
My check.
1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Mic check.
My check.
1 2 1 2.
1 2 1 2.
Kaylee, you about to play some soiree?
Yep.
And that concludes this week's episode of the In My House Techno Music Show. I'm your host, T. Carlita, and I hope you have enjoyed this show. And we're going to conclude this, and we're going to ride this out with one of my favorite videos from Derek Thompson, aka Drivetrain, and this is The Greatest. Enjoy the video. See you next week. You are In My House, hosted by T. Carlita, where the true stories are told and great music is played.